That's what
And I know how to gather to us.
Love you, bro.
I can't breathe. 3 words that left a life ripped at the seams. How do you report a murder when the criminals are the police? And I can't stress this enough. While I know it's been rough, it's time to get up. They tied a noose around our youth and hung it from a tree, riddled in white supremacy. Yeah, you backed the boys in blue, but I'ma put you on game. Picture it. They painted us as thugs and criminals by way of justifying racism as long as it's subliminal. They traded white hoods for white collars, suppressed black scholars, ran the world by $1, and sent black men through hoops to get any. Abandoning things like black queens and kings with dreams of things of an America where they no longer use pro-black tees and painted black streets as a cast to shield their racist white beliefs. See, I'm a black girl, so I was raised on pink lotion and notions that my hair was too big and my skin was too dark. So yes, my black life matters. Yes, I live for the moment where the movement produces so much black girl magic and so much black boy joy that you no longer have the opportunity to plague our community. Remember, what they fear is not violence, but unity.
Hello, I am Kalia Wainwright with this week's newscast. The Black Lives Matter movement has affected everyone in our community. It has taken a toll on our present, but will it affect our future? To Jeremiah with this leading story.
We interviewed 2 Caucasian teachers and asked for their opinions on how the Black Lives Matter movement will affect our future economy and how we treat each other. Ms. Singleton is a department chair of social studies and government. She has also worked in the White House. She advocates for people to vote because it's very important to her. She believes that within the next 5 years, the African American community will bring about awareness and change in our policies.
They've also tried to bring programs into their communities that can educate people about how to bring change. And I connect this to my class by telling students that your democracy works for you. And so if you ever see injustice or inequality or problems with the government, you need to take action. And you can do that in lots of different ways. And the Black Lives Matter movement has used social media, they've used protests, they've written to government officials, and those are all things that you can do to bring change if you are seeing something wrong with what's going on in society.
This is Mr. Browning. He has been a history teacher for 10 years, and before that, a journalist for 20. He has also worked in sports broadcasting for over 12 years. He believes that the Black Lives Matter movement is opening our eyes to some of the struggles that African Americans have faced throughout history.
So hopefully the Black Lives Matter movement is opening a lot of people's eyes to the types of struggles people have had to go through. Hopefully people start to realize that if you're privileged, like I have white privilege, that doesn't mean I haven't had to work hard for everything I have. It just means that racism isn't one of those things I've had to overcome to get to where I am. So hopefully people start to realize that, but I'm afraid it may not. Sometimes I think it has the opposite effect. You see people getting upset by the term Black Lives Matter and want to say all lives matter. But what they got to realize, the movement's not saying Black Lives Matter more or only Black Lives Matter. They're saying Black Lives Matter too.
Jeremiah Cabrera, BDTV.
Thank you, Jeremiah. As you've seen in the previous videos, those were the opinions on the Black Lives Matter movement from the Caucasian point of view. Here's a few videos with the opinion on the Black Lives Matter movement from the colored perspective.
Black Lives Matter will affect my future because I wouldn't be looked at differently or look suspicious if I go to a store.
Black Lives Matter will affect my future because when I grow up and have kids, I want them to be able to go out freely and not worry about their safety.
I feel like all the videos I've seen sort of give me this idea that if the movement continues to grow, it might give people like me more of an equal opportunity compared to those that are like born with privilege.
For me, as a Latina, I think that it sets a nice precedent, like that we're not gonna sit still anymore, that we're not gonna let this happen. And when I get to college and the more that people realize what is actually happening, it'll change how things actually work in this country. Like, it's no longer going to be that we have to sit still and sit with a smile and pretend that we're happy and content when we're really mad, because that's not going to stand anymore. And I'm happy that that's not going to stand anymore.
Black Lives Matter, if it hasn't affected you now, it will very soon, because we all have to come together and figure this all out. It's during this movement, it's going to show you that we need to treat people differently and with more respect and treat us equally. So if you haven't been affected by Black Lives Matter right now in your life, it's going to come. It's going to come. It's going to be a tsunami that hits you pretty hard, but it's now you need to prepare for it, educate yourself with it, ask questions, talk to your parents, talk to me, talk to your teachers about it. But if it hasn't affected you now, it will.
That was the effects of the Black Lives Matter movement from one perspective. Here's Jake with another perspective.
Thanks, Devin. Hello, I'm Jake Cerniak, and I'm a transfer student from Bethesda Christian High School and a current student in the BDTV class. I went back to my home school to interview a teacher about how she feels about the Black Lives Matter movement.
Carolinas. Carolinas, yes. But South Carolina...
This is Miss Bostick. She has been teaching at Bethesda Christian School as a history teacher for the past 2 years. She believes that our country has a lot of work to do based on our founding documents and the history of our entire country.
I think our country, that we still have a lot of work to do based off of founding documents through the history of our entire country. There's been kind of this push for understanding that equality has a very broad definition, and people are giving voice to that and are actually being active citizens by using their right to assemble, by using their right of freedom of speech, to be able to fight towards this idea of what does true freedom look like and what does equality look like in our society.
What she is saying, how we achieve true equality, is by reteaching equality.
It's relearning certain things that we've always been taught and putting in a narrative of people who have not been, have had their narrative vocalized in history. And so I think that's really something that is being pushed. And once we teach that, then I think it takes root in our actions and in our hearts of how do I take what I know is wrong and then change that.
Jake Cerniak, BDTV.
It is salient to understand the importance of life and what it actually means to take a stand.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
At first it kind of felt weird to be kneeling when everyone else was standing, but we realized that it's bigger than us and we're trying to raise awareness for the racial injustice in this country. So if we have to be a little uncomfortable, then that's okay.
Hello Giants, I'm Savannah Dowdy with this week's community calendar.
On Saturday, October 3rd from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. there will be a virtual science fair hosted by Celebrate Science Indiana. They will have special guests Camille Schreier, Miss America 2020. To learn more, go to www.celebratescienceindiana.org. On October 12th and October 14th, Herc Jones will be at Ben Davis High School from 4 to 7 p.m. to order cap and gowns. Students with last names A through K can come the 12th, and students with last names L through Z can come the 14th. Last but not least, our BDTV family was well represented at Friday's homecoming game. It started off with Josh Flowers singing the national anthem, then he went and played in the game. We also had Donnell Mason, Amari Phillips, and Elijah Martin, Kalia Wainwright and Morgan Graves on the dance team, Victoria Suggs cheerleading, and finally congratulations to BDTV's very own Candace Robinson for winning Junior Homecoming Princess. It was great to see Cade Thompson, who is battling cancer, but he also won Sophomore Homecoming Prince. Hashtag can't beat Cade. Savannah Dowdy, BDTV.
Fall is now among us, welcomed in Tuesday, September 22nd. The leaves are falling and the temperatures are dropping, but the most important thing is to stay safe. Fall is normally referenced as the flu season, but the weather changes also triggered COVID-19 and allergies. Remember to stay on top of your health. Bundle up when necessary, whether that's a coat, a hat, or a scarf, or any other things necessary to keep the ones around you safe. Let's make it a spooky season, not a flu season. Kalia Wainwright, BDTV.
All of us have been impacted by COVID-19. Some have been more impacted than others. Due to the pandemic, our family has had to make life changes. My sister Tiara has Down syndrome and a rare lung disease called primary ciliary dyskinesia. She hasn't left the house since March. She can no longer go to school or see anybody outside of our family. Everybody has to be clean and washed up before they can go around her. Everything she does is online, like doctor's appointments and therapies. As of right now, doctors don't want her out until there is a vaccine. So we will continue to spend time together in the house as a family, and Tiara is perfectly fine with that. Savannah Dowdy, BDTV.
There are all kinds of masks. Some are cloth, some are disposable. These are the steps that you need to take to keep your mask clean to make sure that they are as effective as possible. If you have a cloth mask, you need to wash it every day. You can put it in the washing machine or wash it by hand. To wash it by hand, you should use rubbing alcohol, water, and liquid soap. Make sure you work up a good lather. After a thorough scrub, hang your cloth mask to dry or put it in the dryer. Disposable masks should be thrown away every day. The CDC recommends not wearing a mask with a filter. This is because the filter cleans the air for you to breathe, but puts out air that could hold harmful bacteria. Make sure you cover your nose and your mouth while wearing your mask at school or anywhere else. You should also keep a distance of at least 6 feet from people at all times. Victoria Suggs, BDTV.
You may have seen these dispensers around the school. Remember, Giants, stay safe and use these whenever you can.
I got 3 hybrids.
So the kids that stay at home get meals for 5 days, and the kids that go here get meals for 3 days.
Over the course of the pandemic, Wayne Township has done its role in ensuring that students receive nutritious meals.
We started our drive-through program where parents can go curbside, pick up their meals, minimize contact, and we have served so many kids in the community.
A lot of people went out of their jobs, and a lot of kids, the only time they eat is at school, so we want to make sure they eat.
I believe that for families that are trying to struggle to continue to work and facilitate their child's education, that this is a small thing that they don't have to worry about by doing this. By being able to pick this up, they then can mark one thing off their list of many things to do.
The school will be highlighting healthy meals from October 12th to October 16th during National School Lunch Week.
We are going to be decorating the cafeteria. The theme of the week is movies. And we're also getting the library involved, trying to have books that have been adapted into movies be shown in their display and also be available to all of you guys.
My role in contributing to that is making sure we provide the kids with healthy lunch menus and making sure every kid in this building eats at all times.
National School Lunch Week will also feature a brand new meal at Ben Davis.
We're going to be menuing something new called buffalo chicken tachos and seeing if that's a new item that we can get on the menu that you guys really like.
Make sure to participate in National School Lunch Week starting on October 12th and continue to eat nutritiously. Zion Brown, BDTV.
What a powerful newscast. Let's take a stand together for justice. And if it's about you and me, it's on BDTV.